Since the very beginning, we've all been on this incredible journey. It's this universal human quest to figure out how we can live longer, healthier, and, more meaningful lives. Today, we're going to look at that quest from two really fascinating angles: the absolute cutting edge of science and the depths of ancient faith. Let's see where these two paths take us.
I mean, really think about it. It's a question that gets right to the heart of what it means to be human, doesn't it? This deep-down desire to push past our limits. Well, that's the engine that's been driving our entire story.
And wow, what a story it is. You've got ancient emperors like Hwuang sending out entire fleets to find some mythical elixir of immortality. You have explorers trekking through jungles looking for the fountain of youth. The search is exactly the same today, but the setting totally different. The mythical fountains have been replaced by sterile labs, genetic engineering, and super rigorous clinical trials.
So let's start right there, on that modern frontier. Because today, for the first time ever, we actually have the tools to look at the aging process on a molecular level. And we can ask this really radical question: is getting old something we can actually treat?
This represents a monumental leap. In a lab, scientists have been able to tweak the genes of this tiny little worm, and they've extended its 20-day lifespan by 10 times. Now, to put that in perspective for us, that's like a human living to be 800 years old. It just goes to show that on a biological level, our lifespan might be way more flexible than we ever thought possible.
For most of human history, this was really the only thing that mattered: lifespan. Simple as that. The total number of years you're alive. But, modern science is shooting for something much, much bigger.
And that thing is called health span. See, it's not just about adding more years to your life. What's way more important is adding more life to your years. The big goal here is to maximize the time we spend healthy, active, and free from all those chronic diseases that we associate with aging.
Think of it like this. The goal is to stretch out that green period of good, vibrant health, our health span, and to squeeze that red period of sickness into the shortest possible time. The dream, really, is to live well for as long as we possibly can, with only a very, very brief period of decline at the very end.
Okay, so this all sounds amazing in a laboratory, but what can we do right now? Well, the science on this is surprisingly clear. Decades and decades of research all point to this powerful blueprint for healthy aging, and it's built on 3 solid pillars.
And it's probably not going to surprise you. It's what you eat, it's how you move, and it's how you recover. Diet, exercise, and sleep. Let's break each one down real quick.
First up, diet. Okay, the single biggest finding across almost every species they've ever studied, from yeast all the way up to monkeys, is that caloric restriction, which is basically just eating less without being malnourished, extends a healthy life. So the evidence really points us towards whole foods packed with nutrients, while cutting way back on all the processed junk. It's true what they say: what we eat is literally what fuels our cells.
Second, exercise. Moving your body is, without a doubt, one of the most powerful anti-aging tools you have. The American Heart Association has some great guidelines. They recommend a mix. Try to get about 150 minutes of moderate aerobic stuff, like a brisk walk, or you can do 75 minutes of something more vigorous, like running. On top of that, try to get in at least 2 days of strength training every week.
And third, sleep. We often forget this one, but it's when your body and your brain do all their most important repair work. For most adults, that sweet spot is somewhere between 7 and 9 hours a night. If you're consistently getting less than 6, you could be seriously undermining your health in the long run.
All right, so science gives us this amazing blueprint for a longer, healthier life here on Earth. But for thousands of years, faith traditions have been pointing us toward a totally different horizon, not just a longer life, but an eternal one. So let's shift gears and explore that perspective.
So the biblical story starts in a garden with these 2 famous trees. After humanity chose the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, the path to the other one, the tree of life, was blocked. This verse right here from Genesis, it marks this huge turning point: humanity's separation from a state of, unending life.
And what follows in the story is this just dramatic decline in lifespan. You see these early figures like Adam and Noah living for over 900 years. But then, after the Great Flood, which is a major turning point in the whole narrative, lifespans just plummet. You go from Abraham's 175 years all the way down to King David, whose life looks a lot more like one of ours.
And the text actually gives a specific number right before the flood happens. God declares that man's days will be 120 years, basically setting a new potential for the human lifespan in this new era.
What's really interesting, though, is that the Bible also gives its own principles for living a long life here on Earth, and they have nothing to do with diet or exercise. They're all about relationships. The two main ideas are honoring your parents and following the ways of God, which is really about living in a right relationship with your family and with the divine.
So here we are with these two very different paths, right? But both of them spring from that exact same deep human hope to overcome mortality. Let's kind of put their promises side by side and see how they stack up.
The hope of science is for an extension, an improvement of the life we have now, a longer, healthier life on this planet. The biblical hope, though, is for a total transformation of our existence, an eternal, perfect life with God in a completely new creation, one that's totally free from death and suffering. And this quote just brilliantly captures that ultimate hope. The Bible story ends right where it began, back at a tree of life, only this time its leaves are for the healing of the nations. It's just this powerful image of total restoration and wholeness, a future where sickness and aging just aren't a thing anymore.
So as we look at these two powerful quests, one for a longer life and one for eternal life, it kind of leaves us with one final question to think about. Beyond just counting the years, what does a truly long, well-lived life really mean to you?